I remember when I first saw a sea otter. It was July 2014, and I was sailing off the coast of Langara Island in the Haida Gwaii archipelago. I turned around to share in my excitement with the captain, only to find him weeping. It was at that moment that I realized just how much of a role this charismatic marine mammal had to play in the story of the Pacific coast as a keystone species. Almost completely killed off for their luxurious pelts, sea otters have been slowly reintroduced to the BC coastline, and their presence is palpable and celebrated even by the most sea-hardened sailor. So my research goes into the BC kelp forests. I dive quite literally down into the waters and the living canopies of BC's kelp to an ecosystem that is now suffering because of overpredation and the effects of climate change. In my studies, I survey 4 sites and compare them against an extensive literature review to find all the variables required for kelp growth. I then compare that to all accessible data sites, and my analysis finds 2 things. 1, British Columbia has immense untapped potential in regrowing kelp, and 2, keystone species like the sea otter could help reduce the barriers that kelp faces. In the words of Leonard Cohen, there are heroes in the seaweed, as seaweed provides so much to us, from food security to feed and compost for agriculture, to shelter for our salmon, to even a sink for atmospheric carbon. Just like humans stepped in to bring back the sea otter, it's time to step in now to bring back kelp. So Canada also could be a global leader in sea forestation, as kelp forests cover over 5 times more area than coral reefs. This makes this issue a global issue, not just one for here in Canada. This is research that is important to coastal and inland communities, and also to groups that are going to be making the decisions as they lead us through the climate and biodiversity crises. I still sail the BC coast every summer, and I can happily report that in most areas that still have kelp density, you can spot a sea otter most days, hopefully inspiring more students to learn from them, to step in to help the kelp.